Really? Dustin, what's up? Rhinos, what's up? Man, I need what I need to start doing, man. I need to start keeping track of and again, I don't know if maybe there's a bot or something that I can do for this, but like keeping track of like the first 5 or so or first handful of people that come in each stream. That could be pretty cool, man, if there was something to keep track of that. I was just thinking about that right now. Just yeah, like just how dope that would be. And then people can get like a little counter or something like that, or maybe something from that. I'm not sure. But welcome, welcome. Damn, yo, it's still going too, man. Just... Gosh, man, I look over at Discord. It's like almost 400 new messages. Half of them still on topic. Oh my god. Praise, what's up, man? Welcome. Best mage tank in the game, he is. What a guy. Yeah, man. I was thinking, I was like, man, I wonder if there was any hardcore fighting going on right now. And I took a look real quick at all the KVK groups, and there was maybe like 2 or 3 in SOS that had something going on, but it was just for Rise of the Dragon. This was one of them. I was like, okay, you know, let me give you guys a little filler for now. Yeah. Rhinos BTX Echo, who hates that only. Dude, I'm telling you, man, like one of the things I want to do though is just like part of me wants to go through Brokey fights. Dude, listen, it is so funny, Austin, you say that, because I was thinking about this yesterday, right? Where, you know, where basically because of the separation in the division, right? In the KVK groups, and with this big push and this idea of, okay, well, let's try and, you know, get as many people to the same KVK pool as possible, right? For obviously all the inherent benefits that there are, and you know, I mean, I've spoken about this numerous times. When it almost feels as though the point is proven that much more, or at least one other element we can say for the point to be proven is when you go and you look at other groups, and part of this, of course, can just be the strength of the kingdoms there, how many resources they have available, you know, how many strong players they have, etc. Right? Because obviously, you're not going to expect to see the competitive, the high level competitive fighting and high intensity fighting in PvP of, you know, like a season 3 or season 2 kingdom, right? Compared to, you know, someone who's in SOS and who's been competitive for a while. That goes without saying. But when I look at some of these other fights, you know, and I think to myself, maybe with the exception of the final zone, right? Part of me looks at them and I think to myself, okay, you know, maybe that, or like right after pass opening, right? You could maybe argue right after pass opening. But it just feels, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it kind of just feels a little lackluster here and there. And then I really start going down the rabbit hole and I think to myself, okay, it could this be a bigger problem or a bigger issue at hand, which comes into the fact of like how long on average does it take to train enough troops to be able to field multiple marches, then multiple re-up marches to get back in the field, especially when you consider looking at like the free to play low spend, because obviously in like season 2 and season 3 kingdoms, you just may not have enough people that are spending and or are willing to, put a little bit of a dollar into leveling their account up and seeing those kind of longer sustained fights. So it is interesting because it almost feels like part of me looks at it and it's, do we just kind of like, are we just highlighting the 1% in a sense? You know what I mean? Like, are we just, and not to say like 1% isn't figuratively 1%, but are we just highlighting and kind of just in this state of, well, we're just focusing on like the best of the best, and the groups that we know are absolutely going to get it. And then, what does that say about the other groups? Does it just come down to time? Is that really all it is? And it's just, okay, they'll eventually get there. Is it maybe a bigger issue when you think about, maybe training rates, training speeds? When you think about maybe like resource collection for being able to stay, how long they can stay? It's just, my mind kind of goes in those directions of wondering. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was a funny comment that I feel like I could like really dive down a rabbit hole on. Because part of me feels like it's a bigger issue than maybe some people may think it is or not. No. Praise, hey, Bian, hope you're having a good day. Man, I appreciate that. I am, man. I got a workout in this morning. I did a 2-a-day yesterday. So I did 2 like 35-minute CrossFit sessions yesterday, one in the morning and then one in the evening. That was my first time ever doing a 2-a-day. Oh, but man, did I love it. Yeah. Dweed, what's up, man? You will update data for kills, Maris, G2, KVK stats? Dweed, yes, we will be doing that eventually. So right now, I'm just waiting until I get an updated scan from Fuzzy, as I stated, I know last time, and I think in the video yesterday, where we talked about it a little bit. So again, from what I was told, it could be as early as the 13th or 14th, but definitely should be before the 16th at reset. So yeah, that again, my plan is as long as I get it before the reset, which again, I know Fuzzy told me I should, I will go through and update that. I'm also going to be adding in some more stats as well, which is like the amount of players that, are maybe over a certain merit number for each of the kingdoms. Because we could, if I wanted to, oops, I still have it there. Because if I wanted to, what I could do is I could look at all of the, what is it? I could base the stats off of, oops, I think I just double posted that. I could base the stats off of like looking at fighting power for players that are only at, like what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mil merits and above, and then you're just looking at the numbers from that. Though, I mean, I guess it depends, right? Because you could still have people, even if they're under, let's say, 4 or 5 mil merits for a season, that may end up coming back and having more merits than that. I mean, the problem is that you'd have to look at it over the course of a couple seasons. I'd say at least 2 to 3 to see if there's any consistency. But point being is that you could do something like that. So it is one of the things that I think I want to add to the stats that we're already looking. Because the thing is, I have the stats. It's just a matter of just including it on a column. So in that, yeah, hopefully it should be in maybe a day or two at the earliest, as long as no road bumps or anything end up happening. Whiskey. Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, Prey says this is like the 5th or 6th season in a row where EAS was the center of the drama of matchmaking. Literally drama every matchmaking, including them every KVK. Yeah, I'm that's the thing, man. I'm not sure as far as on the whole. And I should say, like, I guess you could argue that maybe you've probably seen some EIS players talking about the situation maybe a little bit more, but I haven't gone through, to look at every single post on the COD Discord of like who was saying what, around that time after the matchups were announced. That to me actually, oh crap, why am I not? Oh, I totally did that wrong. Oh crap, I did do this wrong. Oh, why am I doing it like that? It's okay. It's okay. I figured it out. I'm straight up having a blonde moment. But yeah, I mean, and like I said, that's the thing, man, is I don't know, because I think what would be interesting to go back and look at would be the moment that, like, if, as far as the COD Discord is concerned, if you go there, and maybe we'll do that, it would be interesting to me to see who were the main people, pushing, pushing whatever they were, whatever narrative they were after the matchup started, like the matchup was announced, like people started hearing about it. Who started saying what first? I feel like that could be pretty telling at that point, because then I feel like, okay, now you have a little bit more of an idea on, okay, 10 people from this kingdom, or 5 people from this kingdom, or a couple people with, this tag for this alliance that's in this kingdom. They were the ones who were really, going hard, right after the matchup came out, and, maybe pushing kind of one stance or one approach or another. I think that would actually be interesting to look at, which again, probably wouldn't take that long to find out. You just have to go back a couple days and scroll to where you see the first post, and then, you can kind of dissect it from there. Price says, even if they try to throw it, blame other alliances, you can legit see based on history them having drama over Diplo each time. I don't know if there, again, I don't know if there was a lot last season from what I remember and recall. But I'd have to go and look at what the matchup was last season too. I know I have it saved on wherever this is. I think I have it saved, yeah, for last season. Oh, am I missing them? Are these guys still going at it? I thought it was another group real quick before I get to what I actually wanted to do. Yeah, they don't. So, it was funny though. Oh, look at that. There we go. Yeah, maybe a little bit more here. I'm gonna look real quick and see what it was. What? Stop. Let's go. Who cares if they're on the door? Oh, it's just the kiddos. That's all. Yeah, it's my my daughter's friends. This guy. So 164, I think I'm going to. Let's see. Yeah, who did? Whoa! Oh, God, I'm blanking right now. Let me see. Hang on. Who was it last season? Let me do this. Oh. Oh, my bad. Was it? It was EIL. That's what it was. Sorry. So what? Who were they with? It was TFS, NTS, EIL, A2G, WB. No. Yeah, NTS. 38. Who did they? Oh, okay. I was like, man, it felt too close, too similar. Felt too similar in that moment when I was looking. Yeah. Okay. So that's who it was for the 6 last season. But yeah, what did they end up doing? Did I organize this? Let's see, results pre-KVK2. Yeah, we did, I think. Okay, man, I'm telling you, man, I'm like short-term memory loss is kicking in hard. Who was it? Oh yeah, it was NTS, EIS, A2G, right? Yeah, and they were going up against TFS, WB, SSG. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember. I can't remember if there was any. I'm sure some people probably remember better than me, though. And my memory's just shot at that point. Now, usually I take notes for anything. Oh, that's what it was. I had a note on here. It says 3v2v1 didn't sit well with them, so they're going solo. Yeah, I think that was in reference to A2G. And then SSG opted to go solo as well. And that was around March. So it was about 2 months ago. Okay, so see, I do have some notes. I keep notes. I keep notes from last season. I probably should keep more. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was just because of the whole, oh yeah. Wait, wasn't last season the whole like trying to figure out like the matchup thing? And then if I recall correctly, someone might have to remind me of this. I think God, was that I think that was the last KVK where I made that group chat and I was like trying to like help out with the thing. I think. And like the intentions were great, everything was there, but I remember I think I typoed one of the team ups or something. If that was it, I'm pretty sure that was it. from what I remember. Oh God, that was funny. That was hilarious. Yeah. Rhino says, I'm not trying to find excuses, but any stupid person can understand the map. We wanted fights in every zone. I think our KVK is the most equilibrated. Oh, did he mean calibrated? Equilibrated? Equilibrated? Oh my gosh. Is that a word? Damn, dude, do I need to Google that? Maybe. I know everyone expected Echo versus BTX. Yeah, I mean, I think what I would have almost liked to have seen, and maybe we'll do this once I get like all my stats and everything, would have been, I actually would have been interested just to see what would the matchup have been? What would have been the ideal matchup if BTX and Echo were on opposing teams? Because I don't know if I saw a matchup proposal that someone had provided or said like, oh yeah, this would have been like the matchup that, would have had them on opposing teams and that, we would have liked. I don't know if someone proposed that or at least maybe they did. I just didn't see one. Yeah. Rhinos, but blame the devs. Stefan, what's up? I'm Groot. Absolutely. Mario, where can I find new projects to start a new account? From Sarah from Zero. It's been a long time since I played and want to start a new from. So I would recommend going on the COD official Discord there, Mario. And you can find those on the recruitment channels. You can also join my Discord. A link to that's in the top of the chat. And I have an area there as well for people to promote projects, promote their Kingdoms recruiting, and if you are a free agent as an individual, you got a couple people, or you're just a group looking for a home, I have recruiting channels on my Discord as well. Because I'm a lover. That's why. That's what people say about me. And if anyone tries to say otherwise, just don't listen to them. Confusion says BTX cowards should have just fought Echo. Well, that's rough. Where am I at right now? 11. Panda says, Yo, BN, do you know who is teaming up with NBA server? Yeah. Panda, I think I covered it in the video I put out today. Where am I at? 44, but it is, I'll tell you here right now. Supposedly it is DBB, MFD, POTC versus SG97 Law and FG, and I'll show that as well once I finish getting through my promos here. Oh yeah, 47. Yeah, did I already post here? Did not. 95. But yeah, I'll show the sheet off too as well because we got to do a little bit of updating today. Yeah, Juan, what's up, man? Isn't EIS the number one alliance in dodging fights using boredom as their main winning strategy? You know, I think, and I will say this. I did talk about this a little bit in the video that I put out yesterday, but at least on paper, for what we see right now. Ooh, nice. Okay, I'm gonna start my timer. And let me do this. Where did I end up? All right, cool. I got it saved. We're good. We can continue. All right, yeah. Let me show this off so I can get to updating, because I need to update. I'll show you. Where's the MFD one? I thought I just set it up. Oh, hang on. I think it's a little bit lower. You know what? I think I went too far on that one. Here we go. Yeah, so yeah, this is the MFD matchup. Yeah, for you being curious. But what I was saying before is, even if we look at the matchup here, right, and we factor in the RAC updated numbers, right, for those 33 players in the second alliance, I mean, if you're just going off of the power, the 60, the 100, the 200 mil plus players, again, this is without looking at advanced stats. You know, the matchup isn't bad. You know, I mean, even if you look at like the 200 mil plus, right, the EIS side is 2 more. If you look at the 100 mil plus, the EIS side has more. The only thing that the Echo side has, right, would be more T5. Obviously, we'd have to look at, you know, merit contributions and, you know, coming in from last season, right, with a kind of a willingness to fight. And again, I'll do that when we look at the advanced stats and we do kind of a little bit more of a deeper PvP dive and breakdown. But again, like I said, at least at face value, you know, the matchup on paper doesn't look awful. I mean, I would argue it's a little more balanced now than it was previously. And even previously, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't god awful. Yeah, I gotta update these permits though. Where are we going? 15? I think so. Austin, what's up? Check the Discord. They post that stuff. Yeah. Dark, what's up, man? If EIS is the center of drama, ask if RC and SSG like the matchup. Yeah, this thing, I don't know if I heard from RAC or SSG on that. Just kind of as far as what their views were. I'll say this though, man. One of the things that I do want to do, oh god, and maybe that's something I can try and set up, maybe start doing today once I finish all this, is I wanna reach out to people and maybe do like some pre-KVK interviews and like just talk to people about like, hey, you know, kind of just me asking them, you know, how do they feel about the matchup? You know, what are they looking forward to? Do they like how the Diplo went? Maybe kind of get their take on it. So there is a chance that I'll be reaching out to some individuals. So yeah, because I could easily do it where it's like I just reach out to each of the alliances individually and see if somebody wants to, you know, see if somebody wants to come and chat. Could also do it in a group where we do like a team versus team interview. So it's like one interview with this team, one interview with this other team. It's something I want to do to kind of start generating more buzz around the KVKs, and I also just think it would be a great conversation, right, to talk to some of these top kingdoms and see how they kind of view going into, you know, especially, you know, for the top KVK groups too as well. I think there's always going to be some general buzz around those. Dustin finally took a right. Time to hear specs. You guys, man. You guys kill me. You guys are so funny. Yo, but I will say this though, is, and keep in mind, I will say this, right, is that if we did look at like the advanced stats, there's no telling, like if we look at advanced stats, it could paint a very different picture, right? I think there's a certain way that you have to look at, like if you're going to really look at data, and you know, you want to look at it objectively, you have to show it off in a particular way. And don't get me wrong, like I love the data that we show for some of the advanced stats that we already provide, but I do think that I could do a little bit more that I've been thinking about. And so I'm going to try and do that for this next go around. My only thing is that, and that's why I say at face value with like the limited stats we have at the moment, because again, I had to manually pull that myself, right? That's why I say the mashup doesn't look awful, right? It looks a little bit more balanced now than it did previously. But that was after me updating the RAC numbers. However, we could look at the advanced stats and it could tell a completely different picture. So, especially if you have the opportunity to look at like numbers from multiple seasons ago, comparing the players that are still there, because keep in mind, players come and go. But remember, like that takes a lot of work. Like that's just not an easy thing that you do. Like you got to spend time, like really collecting all that stuff, formatting it, pulling, plugging. It's just, yeah, it's a lot. And the easiest way is just look at the alliance and the kingdom holistically. Oh, FFS. Sorry, link didn't work. Un momento. Apologio. Let me, I know what I'm gonna do. I got you. Let's, hang on, let me get, I can't remember which one I used. You mean the Discord one? Oh yeah, that might not have been the best one to use. That actually might have been an older one, Rough Life, hang on. Okay, hang on. Let me unpin. And then try this one. Tell me if that one works. Yeah. So yeah. Let me know on that one. Also, if you guys are enjoying, make sure you throw us a because that was a lot. Thanks. If you want to get this out to that, appreciate you. Over my way. Yeah. What's up, man? Thanks for the sub. I appreciate it. I know I missed it earlier. Oh, I thought I had like some quick emojis or something. No, Rough Life. Can I? How do I? Oh, maybe not. What are we doing here? Oh, what am I at? 792. Okay, let's go to 61. I like this because now that I'm getting a little bit deeper down on the list for migration points, I get to start seeing, like, you could more easily identify basically the rebuild kingdoms, right? Like the ones that people went to. Whether it's like some top players maybe went to, or if they're like really trying to do a full rebuild. That's like one of the reasons I love doing this, because it's like you get to figure things out and you get to, you get to find things out. Like I've already made some notes on some of these too as well. But oh man, it's exciting. It's just, yeah, it's like one of those things where, if you enjoy it like I do, it's almost kind of like, you're an investigator, right? You're like Inspector Gadgeting it, and it's like you find something that like no one else knows. It like a good example is like when I've done a couple videos like breaking the news on when a group is like doing a rebuild, and like it was never publicized, like no one said anything about it on the COD Discord or anything like that. Like I love doing those kinds of things. Where am I at? Oh, let's go to 280. I think I got next here. Focuses RFF. Oh, I found my 280. Oops, one lower. RFF was probably just there drinking tea and watching the Diplo chat. You know what? That is so funny, Focus. I wonder about that sometimes when you get some of these, because I guess it depends. Like, for me, when I was kind of doing King Queen stuff, or if I was like a KVK Diplo rep for some kingdoms, I guess for me, I was always kind of active and engaged. But I find that equally hilarious, or maybe hilarious on its own right, if you're just like, all right, man, we're good. You know, like, again, if that was in RFF's case or not, but if you're them and you're just like, all right, man, we're just gonna, you know, go with the flow, but like we're just here for the laugh and the lulls, right? Or sorry, we're just here for the show. Just got to be a fly on the wall. Oh god, I can only imagine. Blunts, what's up, man? Another KVK, another Diplo drop. Yes. You guys. Yeah, and like I said, I you know what, and I guess maybe it's just because I'm not necessarily following the Discord stuff too much on like who's posting what. I think maybe that's it. Maybe I just go just read a bunch. Yeah, like I have read some funny posts though. And the memes, oh my god, dude, the memes over the past couple days have just been hilarious. Like just for what the meme is. Have been just all like, you know, it reminds me of the, oh my god, who was what was the thing? It was like a Rise, and it was BTX and someone else. You guys are going to have to remind me. It was BTX and someone else, and it was a whole thing. This thing lasted days, like almost kind of like this thing about the BTX Echo stuff. But I think I remember it was BTX and someone else, and it was just days and days of memes about each other. God, the other, it's escaping me now too as well. But man, this like the volume and the sustainability of just the meme war, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, because I just remember that went on for days. And then people started memeing like, oh god, another day filled of this. Dark says Echo keeps talking about how they wanted fights in every zone, but what happens when teams don't want to fight them in every zone because of the matchup? So, I have a solution for that, Dark. Are you ready? I'm going to do a video on this as well, and I'm going to talk about this because I had this epiphany, and the epiphany I had was, okay, well, what has been the biggest problem right now? Right? Like, and when I tell you all this, you're just going to be like, oh my God, that's the easiest. Like that is the solution right there. And basically I'm going to solve every single KVK season ever with what I'm about to tell you. And I'll dive a little more in depth with this when I do the video covering it. But what I realized was something that we've already seen happen a handful of times in KVKs. Hasn't happened too often, but a handful of times it has. And what I'm referring to is when we had a couple seasons over the past 2 seasons specifically, where you saw some kingdoms, some KVK groups that opted to do one matchup type in the beginning of the season and then a different matchup type in the second part of the season. Because what you have to understand is the biggest problem right now with diplomacy matchups, or sorry, the biggest problem is that when diplomacy is done, everyone views it as just a universal application to every zone. Meaning that if you have a 3v3, you have a 2v4, you have a 2v2v2, whatever it may be, but let's just say a 3v3 for traditional purposes. Your 3v3 has been decided. You know who's on your team. How do you view that 3v3 now starting from zone 1? Well, you apply that universally to every single zone. Meaning that's who you're going to fight against, or that's who you and your team will fight against, and the other people in their team will fight against. And so the way to get around that, right? And sorry, let me also add on by saying the other challenge here is that you also have the when you think about things like starting zones, right? So if you're impacting your match, not your matchups, but your diplomacy for the matchups, you're also factoring in starting zones. So starting zone locations, how the zone 2s are going to, etc. Right? Because we can't pick our starting zone ones yet. It will eventually come out, but we can't do it yet. Okay, so you have to think about, well, how do we get around that? Well, I'll tell you how you get around that. What you do is you say, okay, This is going to be the diplomacy. You have to understand your diplomacy matchup. Really, if you boil it down to what you're doing, you're trying to figure out what the fairest two teams are. But in order to utilize said diplomacy matchup, you can only do that in the final zone for all intents and purposes, right? Like, sure, if you want to like make an argument, you know, in KVK seasons where you can rotate from the cross zone 3, sure. But I'm talking about like ideal situation, even start, going through passes, right, meeting in the middle, etc. Right? That's your final zone. So if you look at it like that, every single diplomacy in every single KVK is basically doing Diplo for the FZ and nothing else. That's what it is. So then what you have to look at is say, okay, well, if this is our matchup for the FZ, and this is a great matchup that we've all came together to figure out, okay, what are we going to do for the statues for zone 2, for zone 3? Well, to me, I actually feel, and I'm leaning a lot more into this now, I actually feel that it's okay to have a completely separate matchup. So if you just want to do free for all, or if you want to do like 2v2v2s, whatever, like do whatever you want to get the most PvP out of the season for the statues, the zone 2 and the zone 3, while ensuring, this is the kicker, that all the kingdoms can make it to the final zone. Then you have your crescendo final boss, Magnifico, KVK diplomacy battle in the final zone, okay? And then you set a timer for it. You say, okay, maybe 5 days, 6 days a week. And then after that period finishes, if no one has been kicked out of the final zone by then you could say something like, and you can set that for whatever you want, right? Because remember, you guys can play the game however you want. You don't have to play it by the way that the game designs it. So then what you do is you say, okay, guys, if no one's been kicked out yet, now we can go ahead and start attacking each other in zone 3s and zone 2s. This way, you literally get the best of every single world. You guarantee consistent PvP throughout the entirety of the season. Damn it, man. Pray for this man. Dude, how long have I been muted? How long? How I didn't even touch anything. Wait, really? No, really? Oh my God. No. Oh my gosh, dang. Dude, I'm gonna say this. I felt, dude, so it's just so funny, Casey. She says, oh, I like to imagine this was the best knowledge to be dropped about the game and none of us know about it. Oh, no, that's the damn truth. I was dropping some hard knowledge and education. I felt like this past, if I was really muted for that long, I felt like this was one of my best spiels in a while. And I was illuminating. Oh man, that is so funny. See, this is what happens when I just don't keep the chat in real time, because I was like trying to scroll back and I wanted to make sure I tried to reply to everyone that had said something before. And yeah, probably. He just told us the meaning of life. I'm telling you, look, I felt so good about, and I'll repeat it, but I'll say it shorter now because I'll be honest, I'm a little parched because I was oh man, I was dropping a banger TED Talk. Oh my God. Oh man, that is so funny. We know you. He was calling guns a dwarf. Nah, man. I mean, I hear he's a little short. I've never seen him though, in real life. So I don't even know how tall he is. I'll have to ask him. Be like, yo, bro, what's your height? Is it short or too short? Wink. No. But seriously, I don't know how tall he is. Oh, Timmy, you tried to call me? I appreciate that. Dude, I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know. Did I touch something? Did I not touch something? I don't know. Like, cause I've been in this position the entire time. So either maybe I pressed something on my mouse because I do have like a little keybind thing, but yeah, I don't know. It's just so weird that happened. But anyways, thank you all. I appreciate the love. I appreciate those of you trying to get a hold of me. Maybe I'll just keep the chat in real time from now and not like try to go through everything. So, yeah, you know, maybe I'll go through everything on my other one. Ooh, look at that, man. Some people left that kingdom. About negative 507 points there. So, okay. So sorry. What was I saying? let me get back to that. What was I actually saying? Okay. Okay. So, but okay. Before I drop this, and I literally break all of your worlds. Everyone in here needs to hit the like button right now. Just if you feel me. Okay. Now I will tell you what this amazing idea was. Let me finally disbanded. No, that's not it. That's funny, but no. So, last thing I heard was GG is the best. Man, listen, the GG thing. I wish they would have remained gang, dude. Like, I loved that. I think part of it was for me. I just loved saying it, and it just, yeah, like I enjoyed. Like, I remember when Timmy was there, man. Back in the day when Timmy was in GG, man. Like the OGs were in GG. Oh God, dude, it was such a fun time. Such a fun time. Yeah, I mean, I still remember when TA blamed them. And it was reported that they were being mass reported because their whole like Selly Team 6 fiasco, right, with literally having like 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 people on, you know, moving around and like an organized, like basically being like a little mini NTS, and them getting mass reported. It's just like, and again, supposedly mass reported, we should say, right, by some of the people in TA. Or whomever it was, right? That's what it was. But yeah, just absolutely hilarious, man. Anyways, dude, good times with GG though, man. Yeah, always going to be a staple in my heart. Yeah. Okay, so what I was going to say is this. Doug, what's up? Sorry, Doug. You said, hey, Nas, you should interview R5 BXS about the diplomatic situation of 4038. There are quite a few interesting stories. Really? Okay. Okay. No, listen. My plan again, I'm gonna tell you guys what my genius level idea is, right, about how to fix every single KVK going forward to where it'll never be a problem again. Yeah. Well, why am I in Kingdom 84? And this says I need to be in 293. But sorry, but to Dirk, to answer your question, yes. So, and also, if you guys ask me something, I'm going to say this now. If you've asked me something and it's just really far up the chat, please feel free. Friendly reminders for me are always best. So like if there's something you said and you wanted to get my take on it, or you had a question you wanted to ask and maybe it's up the chat and I missed it, please repost it. And if you need to, keep doing it, right? Just over, every semi-frequently, because that just really helps me out. I'll say. So, oh God, where am I? 293. Okay, good. Because I want to get to this real quick, so I can finally tell you guys it's like, if you guys have seen that movie Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he talks to the robot at like the end. Oh wow, why does this say 84? Is that right? Oh, this is right. This is right. Yeah, because this is where Satoru and Alibaba went, right? Or something to 293? Right? Or some of those guys. No, my bad. That's a different place. But yeah, no, some people went here. Who's this? Broodzy, Pikachu, Angry Ram. I know some people went here for a rebuild. Oh, Beast Left. Yeah, this is some of the two. No. Did they just rename? I'm not sure. Let me see. 712 880. Did I press something? Okay, good. I didn't. Whew. Never mind. I guess they just got more people. Okay. I need to try and stay on topic. Okay. Now I can go to 84. Sweet. Okay, we're good now. What is going on with you guys, man? Everyone should blacklist Dark. Yeah. Yo, didn't Dark get voted? Who got voted most hated when I did that first one? Man, maybe I need to bring those back. People were asking me about that. Yeah, but it says they never work with each other. Ali came to WAO 92. Okay. I thought Ali moved. Okay, thanks, God. I couldn't. Yeah, again, I'd have to go back and like look at some of this stuff. 422. Okay. So here's my thing. Here's my take. So the way to solve KVKs going forward to get, let me just make sure I'm not muted. Okay, I'm good. So the way to solve these for the foreseeable future, right? As far as how are you going to get the most amount of, like, if you're thinking about just the general idea of you playing in a KVK, right? The point being is you want to try and get the most amount of PvP out of that KVK as humanly possible. So how do you do this, right? Given the kind of current situation and state that we find ourselves in. So the answer came to me about 2 seasons ago when I heard about some of these KVK groups that were testing out doing varied matchups, right? Like they would do something where it's like, oh yeah, we'll do a matchup here for the first half, and then we'll do a different matchup for the second half. So what I started realizing was, okay, well, if you want to solve every single KVK season where you would never have a problem, because the challenge is this, is that when you do your KVK diplomacy, I think what people aren't realizing is maybe some don't realize is that when you do diplomacy, you are essentially diploing for the entire KVK, meaning every zone. So if you do a 3v3, which again is what's usually done, right, most likely, your 3v3, whatever your 3v3 team is, that applies for every zone 2, for every zone 3, for the statues, for Supreme, if it's there, and then for the FZ, obviously. But in reality, your KVK diplomacy that you're doing is really designed for when all kingdoms are in the same zone, i.e. the FZ, i.e. zone 4, right? So what's to say there's any problem with you doing a free-for-all or you doing a 2v2v2, whatever it is, right? In order to ensure that you get the most amount of PvP in every statue fight, the most amount of PvP in your zone 2 and your zone 3. And then you just set it up with everyone that says, look, we're all going to make it to the final zone. But after the FZ has been open for a set number of days everyone agrees on, then once that timer ends, every zone is open to be attacked, right? So all the zone 3s, all the zone 2s. So then you'll have to start fighting on multiple fronts. And then at that time, you can also get zone locked, right? Because obviously you'd be able, because your timer would be done, everyone could fight as much as they want, wherever they want. So to me, it feels like this is the best of all worlds. Every KVK season can get the most amount of PvP they want. They're diploing for the final zone, but then they just fight it out as much as they can, right? And even if the matchups aren't one-to-one comparisons, right, for your zone 2s and zone 3s, you could still fight it out. Even in like zone 3s, you could say like, all right, we'll fight it at the halfway point, as an example, right? So the thing you have to consider is, and this is why I loved when some of these kingdoms early on, some of these KVK groups like 2-3 seasons ago started to adopt this method. And that's why I think, and I can't remember every single one, and I can't even remember one right now. I have to go look at my notes. But 2 to 3 seasons ago, I know this really started to happen because people were telling me about it. Like they were like, yo, boss, come check out our KVK. Like we're doing something different than what everyone else is doing. It's like, I really felt like those kingdoms and those groups were just ahead of the curve. Like they were setting phenomenal precedents for how you really should do your KVK to where everyone benefits. Everyone feels fulfilled. And to me, I feel like that's the future, right? Like, and this is albeit if they were to come out with a specific, uniquely designed KVK map that had like the kind of light versus dark approach, or it was like team focused, or the map was designed with a team focus in mind, or sides in mind, like only 2 sides in mind. That's different. But if we keep getting these kinds of map variations that we have been across the past number of seasons, why not have the players, the alliances, the kingdoms, the kingdom leaderships take that control, right? Do what, play it out for what's going to be in everyone's best interest throughout the entire game. Like for me, that's how I look at it, right? It's not about, who's going to get the Diplo win here. No, like I'm thinking about, like, it's not about what the leaders want. It's about what is in the best interest of the players, the people that you are responsible, the people that you are accountable for as leadership. It's not about you. It's about them. And so for me, that's how I always look at it, is what is in the best interest of the player base of a kingdom and the player base of the entire KVK? How are we going to get the best? How are we going to give these players the best experience that, 1, keeps them coming back and playing, 2, potentially keeps them spending on the game, 3, keeps them engaged and active in our alliance and our kingdom, and 4, makes them feel a sense of incentive and motivation to go out there and fight. Because all of those things go into game health. They all go into alliance and kingdom health. Like it's a win-win-win all around. So anyways, that's kind of how I feel about the situation. Now, keep in mind, I understand at the same time that can be easier said than done. However, what I will say is that no one out there can say that it hasn't been done. And no one out there can say that when it was done, it was unsuccessful. Because the fact of the matter is that we've seen this happen in a number of KVKs now, and all of them have been successful. Right? Now, obviously, depending on the power, the strength, the amount of troops trained, amount of resources available, that obviously will play into how long the fighting can last. But I haven't seen any KVK group that did that specific approach and then came back to say, oh yeah, this was just an awful KVK, worst idea ever, let's not do that again. So again, right. Proof is in the historical pudding, if you will. That's my rant. That's where I'm at. Oh my God. And I'm still hanging out here with Sam. Oh wait, did I already put this down? Where's he at? 518. There we go. Alpha, what's up, baby? Coconut, what's up, man? I think the best thing to do is look at the most anticipated matchup in the COD community, BTX and Echo, and put them on the opposite sides of the map. Yep. I mean that's an option. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Like we looked at the numbers there again, at least our entry level numbers, I should say. And I mean, the matchup doesn't look awful. Shisoka, what's up? Let me see. Okay, there's a big problem here, BN. There's a lot of alliances, their members. Sorry. There's a lot of alliances, as in their members, don't want to play with each other and hate each other's. So Diplo is so complicated always. How do you solve this? So my view on this, simply put, and I've stated this before, is that number one, unless you have been, and I'm talking like truly, truly betrayed, like something that was so bad, you question, right, whether or not you ever want to work with this kingdom, this group, or more specifically, work with the kingdom as long as those people are there in leadership. Because I mean, let's be very clear. When things like betrayals happen or something very close to that is at that same level, it's usually a decision from the leadership team, right? It's most of the time not something that the players did, right? People that are not in management. So in that case, for me, if it's not something where you end up having a situation that ends up, I guess, being something where you don't have that happen, my view, simply put, is just like, dude, you just got to man up. Like, they're like, you need to put your big boy pants on and basically try to be the adult in the room, if you will, and think about how are you going to have the best interest of the players that are in your kingdom? Because I mean, that's really what we're talking about, right? It's, are the people in leadership, are they mature enough? Are they cool, calm, and collected enough? And are they composed and hopefully wise enough to recognize that it's not about them, it's about their players? And so, and yes, that can be sometimes easier said than done, where, you often might hear me say like, yeah, dude, like you just got to leave your emotions at the door. Like, again, even if you feel like you were wrong, but it really wasn't something where it was like a straight up betrayal. And keep in mind, there have been some betrayals that have happened. And I think those are completely justified if people are like, yeah, I don't want to work with them. A great example of this is with the, oh God, hang on. What's this KVK group right now? It's, give me 2 seconds. I'm going to find it. Oh, Betsy. It's, where is it? It's, I don't think it's this one. Is it this one? No. Where is it? Is it this one? No, may not have been. Nope, it's not that one. God, I hope I'm going to recognize it when I see their names. Oh, here it is. So it's this one, right? This is the one where you have, so like this is the one where, like, remember the Kong ASC stuff that happened? And you had that situation where, like in this KVK instance, ASC didn't want to work with Kong because of the Kong betrayal stuff that went down, right? And we covered this last season. Now, whether or not you feel that was a betrayal or not, I think some people can, I think it's debatable. Some people can say that it was a betrayal. Some people will say, well, oh, they just had no choice, right? It was just, that's what it was. Like, they had no way, like they felt like they were put in a corner. They backed into a corner. This is what happened. Right. I think my view at the time was leaning that it was a little bit more of kind of falling on a betrayal because there was it was a controllable situation where there was opportunities to talk things out in a better way than what was done leading up to what happened. So given that, like I said, that's how I would look at the situation of like, how do you solve that? Well, number one, you need to make sure your leadership team, and that can be harder said than done as well, because it's not as though the players are going to be able to veto out leadership per se. But I would say the leadership team, the people in leadership just have to be very self-aware, right? To try and make sure that something like that gets done, because the situation you're describing, Shishoka, is something that unless all the players in an alliance / a kingdom come together and say, listen, this is the matchup we want. We don't care about your petty squabbles and how you emotionally feel and how someone stole your pet, someone stole your chia pet and now all of a sudden you're crying. It's like, no, like just man up, make a matchup that is in favor and going to allow us to have a great time. Unless something like that happens where the players all get together and basically, let's say, unionize, the sad part is you're kind of stuck with what you have, right? Because at the end of the day, the people that are in charge of deciding Diplo are either the R5 and or who's ever been appointed as the main Diplo rep, right? If that person's diplomacy potentially supersedes or is equal to that of the R5's authority. So, authority / power, if you will. So yeah, to say that, I agree with you on that. Yeah, there is a big problem there. And in large part, that can be unavoidable, where you're just not going to get around that. And I will say this, if you are in a kingdom where the leaders that are in charge of your diplomacy are like, you feel like you're getting screwed over, leave. Remember, that is the one power. Now, again, that is also easier said than done because depending on the power of your account, right, you might have to purchase, you might have to grind those things out. So it's, again, I guess the reality of it is that there's not like an answer that is just going to seem so easy, but there are answers, is my point, right? So I hope that answers the question to some degree. It was a great question. Great question, by the way. I think that's a fantastic topic to touch on. Absolutely. Yeah. Mitch, no, they're not. Quan, what's up, man? Easy. The game should make a dynamic enemy ally system that are decided by votes by people in the kingdom. That's interesting, Quan. So you mean that like all the players in the KVK, is that what you mean? Like all the players in the KVK should be the ones to like maybe vote on matchups, or like as an example, maybe what you're saying is that the kings of the kingdom can submit. This would be an interesting take. You guys let me know what you think on this one. So what if the kings were able to submit a proposed matchup, and each king could do that? And if kings submitted the same matchup, then it would just like give you a note or something that said like 2 or 3 or more kings voted for this matchup. And then all of the players that are going to be in that KVK get to vote on the matchup they want. And maybe like the matchups would have some preview stats or whatnot, or be covered. Maybe I would cover it or something, or others would obviously as well. But I don't know if that's what you're saying, Quan. If you mean something like that, or if I'm off and you mean something totally different, you'll have to expand on that a little bit for me. But I do think that's an interesting path to maybe go down, as far as like if they were willing to try something. Personally, I think once they just come out, I mean, let's be real. I feel like once they come out with the being able to choose your own starting zone, I think that's going to solve a lot, without a doubt in my mind. Oh, oopsies. Did I put that in there twice? Okay, good. I was supposed to be in 261. Yeah. DGen, what's up, man? Let's be real. Devs came up the AABB team system. Guess what? EIS still complained about their allies that season. EIS is the problem no matter what the KVK they're in. Davos, EIS last win was the biggest Diplo win in COD history. No one is surprised. They tried to do it again this season. LOL. DJ Fax. It's just COD Gen chat. Plus, what's up, man? The point of king is to represent the kingdom, not have to vote. Yeah. Absolutely, man. I mean, I will say that when you are doing KVK diplomacy, though, sometimes you will have to vote. Like, because, you know, some people, like, if there's just a matchup that isn't overwhelmingly a lock where everyone can just get behind it and you don't necessarily need to do things like votes, I do think that votes can be used in an efficient way, but only if it's organized and it's like, okay, look, guys, we're going to submit, you know, like one example would be, okay, all the kings or queens could submit a proposed matchup they want to do. And then you have the kings and queens vote on that. I think that is one way. I think that's one way to do it. Not to say that's the only way to do it, but I do think that's one way to do it. And keep in mind, there are some KVK Diplo groups that have done something like that, and they went with what the majority voted on. And then other times, it's just straight up easy because they're like, oh yeah, this is just clearly the best, most balanced matchup that we could have. And then obviously sometimes diplomacy breaks down, unfortunately. Yeah. Lowell says, I am for democracy, F the kings. Sorry, you mean the vote thing I said. You mean the thing where it's like, like maybe the kings could submit the matchup that they like would like to see happen in the KVK, then all the players that are going to be in that KVK get like a 24-hour period to vote on which one they want to do. And then that's what like the teams would be if they went back to some kind of like light versus dark or like team system. Like I said, I mean, I think it could be interesting. I think we already looked at this one, right? Yeah, we did. 323. Yeah. Logan says it gets hectic. That voting is impossible. Yeah. Oh, it gets so hectic. And see, Logan, that's a good point. Is in some of the KVK diplomacy rooms, and this is another point. This is like an advanced topical part of what Shisoka was saying earlier, is that when you're in these KVK Diplo rooms, and some of you have seen them because I've covered some of them. For some of you that have watched some of those videos where I've shown screenshots from like how KVK diplomacy was going. If you recall, we did that one big one where we showed off how like the KVK diplomacy went in like that #1 KVK group a couple seasons ago. The challenge here, and this is why I think this is such a spot on point, Logan, is that you made, is that who holds the kings and queens accountable for their behavior, for their conduct, for their decorum, right? When they're in KVK. Because keep in mind, sometimes the R5, aka the king or queen, may not be the best person, or let's say best suited to handle diplomacy conversations. Sometimes it might be an R4. Sometimes it might even be a contributing member that maybe is just like a part of the data team. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you can find someone who's just a people person, someone who is really grounded, again, very calm in their demeanor. Like, that's what you're looking for. Like, you're looking for calm social butterflies, right? When you really think about it, for the people that you want to send into KVK diplomacy discussions. I think for me, and I'll say this respectfully, I think that there are some R5s that should just never be a part of KVK diplomacy that I've seen. And that's not to say that they are bad R5s. That is to say that you have to know your strengths and weaknesses as a king or queen, as an R5. You may not be best suited for everything. I'll give you a great example. When I was running kingdoms in Rock and in Infinity Kingdom from my projects, there were some things that I would have some of my other R5s do, like as they represented us as a kingdom over me. Sometimes I would have some of our officers that I felt like, man, this officer was great. Let me go ahead and have them do this. And so you almost have to have you almost have to have a level of humility and be humble, and to humble yourself and be self-aware in knowing that you may not be the most and most well-suited for a particular task, and that is okay. If someone else is, that's an amazing thing, because that gives you you as a king is almost kind of you acting as an R6 for the entire kingdom. Being able to delegate and know your people well enough to say, you know what, you are amazing at this. I'm going to let you handle this. Or, you know what, let's work on this together, but you'll be the point of contact. Sometimes I would do that. Like, that's one of the things I loved about running projects is when I ran projects, I would always treat my projects and my kingdoms as an educational opportunity, a training opportunity for people to learn how to be good officers, how to be good leaders, how to be good department members and or department leads, how to handle certain things and take care of tasks and really kind of understand what it is to manage a lot of people, how to delegate, how to prioritize. These are great life skills as well that you can learn. And these were things that I loved being able to have a chance at teaching people when I did projects. So like for me, I can tell you, when I played Rise of Kingdoms and I did, I think 5 or 6 projects in that game, there were many people that were a part of my projects that went on afterwards to go make their own successful projects. People that spent time learning within my system and the one that we created. And to me, there's no greater compliment than that. When you really put a lot of effort, you put a lot of care into creating a project because you want it to work out for everyone that is going to potentially join. And then you find out later that some of these people in your project went to go do their own project and it turned out great. And it doesn't mean they're going to apply everything that you showed them, you taught them, they learned while they were there. But even if they did some things that just helped them out, to me, that's a win. So anyway, sorry, I kind of went off on a slight little tangent there. I think it really just comes down to LOL 1 says low-key describing Sod as a king right now. Wait, what part? Because I said a lot. So I don't know what part you're referring to. But what I will say is, yeah, man, it's just, that's the thing, man. It's hard. I could tell you, man, I wasn't good at this my first couple projects. You know, it was a learning opportunity. I was humbled quite a bit in my first couple projects, even though I'd like to believe I did a pretty good job. There were still multiple humbling moments where it's like, listen, I should have done this, or I should have appointed this person, or I shouldn't have handled that, and someone else should have. It's just like, you have to be very self-aware, and you have to be willing to accept that you may not be the best person or just the most well-suited person, right, for each task. It doesn't mean that you can't be involved. It doesn't mean that you can't be updated. It doesn't mean that, you know, because you give this job to someone that all of a sudden you lose all control over it, right? It's like a different way of thinking. Instead of like viewing it as a control thing, it's viewing it more as a collaboration thing, right? It's working with someone, not necessarily having someone work for you on it. I guess if that makes sense to anyone. So it's just, it's a whole, this is the thing. This is one of the reasons I love kingdom builders so much, is because there's just so much that goes into them. And it's one of those things that, you know, like, until you've played a kingdom builder for a while and you've been in the kingdom for at least a couple seasons, like, some of these things you'll never know. Part of some of these things you won't, because you'll never be a part of management. It's like a whole new world, man. Like, literally straight out of an Aladdin song. It is. But to me, like, to me, these things are fascinating, because a lot of the things that happen behind the scenes affect the people that are on the front end, affect the average or everyday player. And so, even if you don't really necessarily care to be involved in like the kind of, you know, management political landscape of a kingdom, I at least think it's nice to be informed, right? So that way you can separate realistic from unrealistic expectations. So yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, we're doing okay though on this. Captain says, an R5's responsibility is simple. Put their leaders in positions to be successful. Amazing activity, great fighter, morale booster. Yeah, man, no, I mean, that is absolutely one part of it for sure. It's just, and that's the thing, is that, you know, like I said, it to me, it kind of sucks a little bit maybe it sucks more than a little bit, but I'll just say in generally, I think it sucks because it, I guess I wish migration was a little bit easier. And I'm sure maybe everyone generally, let me say this. I think everyone generally feels that way, is that I think people would like for migration to be easier. But I say this coming from the standpoint of that if migration was easier, players, communities, kingdom communities would have more leverage. They would have more of a say because it would be easier to leave if you run into a situation where the kingdom you land in, the R5 is just not what you expected. Maybe the kingdom is not taking serious fights. Maybe they're dodging. Maybe they're really dodging. Maybe they're doing something else, right? Maybe they're doing something that to you isn't what they sold you on coming. Well, what's one of the biggest challenges is that it is difficult to move. It just takes a lot to move, I'll say. And so, with that, I think to me, that's one of the parts that sucks a little bit because back when they did have 5K gem migration, it was beautiful. Now, don't get me wrong. That was probably like the opposite end to where we are now. Because that was a glorious time for a lot of us and we got to experience having 5K gem migration and it was glorious. Like every day was a party, right? Back then. But what it allowed was also for players to have a lot more, like you guys know how if you watch sports, one of the things they talk about, at least in basketball, is, and maybe football and baseball too, but I usually hear this a little bit more in basketball, is they talk about player empowerment, right? Where the players are kind of, having this opportunity to kind of control their fate on where they go or where they get traded to, where they get moved to, instead of having the team or the owners of these franchises dictate where they go. You could actually make an argument to say that part of the current landscape is kind of like that, except in this case, the owners and the franchises are the leadership teams and kingdoms. And because it is not as easy as it once was to migrate from one kingdom to another, there's not a lot of player empowerment. And I could only imagine if you had players that were, or if you had a system where players could move a little bit more fluidly and easier between kingdoms, where it wouldn't take as long to get what you need to move, or maybe as much to a degree. I almost wonder if that could potentially, I don't know if it'd be used as a deterrent, but if it would at least help in some regard to shaping up some of the kings and queens in game when like they do certain things, because now it's like, all right, dude, you did this. This was like totally crazy. We don't understand this. Right. And justifiably so. And then a bunch of people just leave. And so it's just, I don't know. It's to me, and obviously that's what I'm saying is one very specific scenario, of course. But maybe it makes sense to some people. Maybe it doesn't. But like I said, that's kind of how I view it. Yeah, it's wild stuff. Also, if you guys are enjoying the stream, make sure you throw us a because I've said a lot. Thanks. Oh, lol, one. You said the calm part. Okay, I don't know. Again, man, I haven't been in any VCs with Sod. I wouldn't know that one. Yeah. J-Lo says, Duck is a full build team. Gary is just bitter. EIS beat BDO in prior season. Time to get over it, I guess. Davos, EIS beat BDO with the most one-sided Diplo ever seen at top KVK. You guys. J-Lo says, I'm sure BN has the numbers from that KVK. Yeah, no, we do. If it was last season one, I have numbers for like the past couple seasons. Yeah. Logan says, I played Rock for years and was never in leadership. I thought it would be awesome. Here I am in leadership in COD. I hate it here sometimes. Oh God. Listen, man, it's Kevin says it's a thing. It is, man. 100% it's a thankless job. Well, let me say 99% of the time it's a thankless job. You will get, and it probably doesn't happen that often, but you will get some people that are in your kingdom that will take the opportunity to reach out to you to tell you how good of a job you're doing or how much they appreciate your efforts. So I will tell you this, again, when I was running and managing kingdoms, looking forward, or not even looking forward, but just whenever that happened, I can't tell you how much that did for me to just, not even in the sense of like, to keep going, but just how much motivation, how much appreciation. It's almost like it filled up my heart tank, if that makes sense. When you hear stuff like that from people, it's one of those things I can tell you, if you're a player out there and you think that your management team is doing a great job, tell them. DM them. Say it in world chat. And maybe give a reason why you think they're doing a great job. And let me tell you, the power of words and the power of appreciation can do so much for a human being's morale. So the next time any of you as players, if you're not in management, or maybe you've been into Kingdom for a while and you're like, dude, like, I love it here. Dude, go give a shout out to your management team. Like I said, shoot them a DM, post something in world chat. I can't tell you I can't tell you enough when I say this, how much of a positive, loving impact that will have on them. I mean, words. I couldn't even describe I couldn't even put a value number on it. All I could say is it would be such a welcoming surprise, I'm sure, for those people to hear that from more people. So, yeah, man. The next time you see them hanging out and you really feel like, hey, I'm in a great place, let them know. Let them know, man. Give them some love. Give them some flowers. I have no idea what I'm doing. Where am I at? 344? Okay. And then, of course, we get comments and posts from Stennis that says, empower these nuts. It's like, damn, man, we're trying to have a heartfelt moment here. Let me go to 8. You guys killed me. Yeah, man. Blunts, yeah, man, I'll scroll up for you. Curricle, what's up? Bring back 5K check my Christian. Absolutely. Where am I at? 8? Okay, yeah. Let me plug this one and then I'll scroll up for you. Yeah, I just want to try and finish this because I've been trying to get all these permit points in here for a minute. And I wish I was a little bit better at multitasking, I'll be honest. Okay, good. For a second, I thought I was still muted. I was like, damn it, man, about to go off on another rant. All right, 201, yeah. I'll scroll to the top for you if you want to see this one. It's killing me, man. It's killing me. Dude, I gotta read some of these. Oh, man, yo, have people been pinging me in the COD Discord? Oh, geez. Is something going on in the COD Discord? I just looked right now. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Sarah, can we see EIS BDO data? Sure. EIS BDO, yeah. I mean, keep in mind, right? It's just entry level stuff right now. Yeah, here's here's the BDO group. See, I think I'm gonna need to turn down my AC. Steam it up in this piece. I have no idea who this is. Yes, this is BDO, and then EIS is her. And like I said, very entry level is because I had to do all this. I had to pull all this manually. But I should be getting I think I was saying this earlier. We should be getting a scan from Fuzzy maybe as early as tomorrow or the 15th. So, but he said definitely before reset on the 16th for when the KVK start, which for me is the most important time, anyways. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if people were telling me I was muted on the COD Discord. I bet you that's what it was. Huh? Has to be. What are my mentions? Okay, yeah, a few of them were. A few of them were. Yeah. Ken, you said, wait, what were you guys? Oh, sorry, I got to read that. Oh my God, can I move this out? I'll have to refresh this here in a sec. Damn. Oh wait, oopsie, sorry. What did you say there? It was can we say wait, were you guys King says wait, were you guys talking about? I don't know, I want to scroll back to the start. It was a lot. It was we were talking about what were we talking about? Leadership. We were talking about like, you know, well, part of the conversation was BTX Echo stuff, but then we were talking a little bit about, you know, R5s and, you know, how sometimes an R5 just might not be the best suited individual, right, to handle particular things. Like if it's KVK diplomacy, maybe someone else will. And it's just kind of being selfless, self-aware, and humble, and understanding that, yeah, you know, there might be other people kind of more well suited for particular jobs. And then I was also saying that, yeah, like, dude, some of these KVK Diplo chats I've seen, and again, I say this respectfully, but some of these KVK Diplo chats I've seen, I almost wonder if like there's just elementary, middle school kids that are just like typing back and forth to each other. It is a little rough to see from some. So yeah, it's no bueno. Confused of why groups like that are so lame. Well, I guess it depends on the group. Yeah. Sorry. So Rob, you said, was it a Diplo win for EIS? Sorry, you mean this season? No, I don't really think it was a Diplo win for. I mean, again, the numbers. If you look at the numbers for the 6034 KVK, I don't think it was a Diplo win for either side. I don't think, at least, again, from our entry level stats, as I stated earlier in the stream, I think the matchup is more balanced than I think some people give it credit for. So, yeah, again, if you look at even if you're just looking at the T5 numbers, comparing that and the power, I mean, like, nobody could sit there and be like, oh my God, yeah, BTX Echo took a Diplo win. Like, I'm sorry, you can't make that argument based on that. Now, maybe the argument might be different, if once we take a look at some of the advanced stats, okay, right? Maybe that might be indicative of something else. Like I said, I'd have to look at that first. Again, I'm only going off of what I have and what I've seen so far. Yeah. But you want to eat me? I was responding to Penny's Brook, man. I love that guy in chat. That was so funny. Oh, sorry, you said BDO. Someone said BDO data was similar. Oh, that was Blunts, yeah. Yeah. Ice says Blunts, you're delusional if you think BTX and Echo are underdogs. Yeah, like I said, I don't know who's been saying who's underdog or who's an overdog. On, like I said, man, I mean, the reality of it is that, like, it's just very hard. Yeah, man. I just, like I said, I just don't know how you can look at the numbers. And again, like I said, maybe once we take a look at the advanced stats, it'll tell us a different picture. But I just don't know how you can look at the numbers right now. Just like I said, just from T5 numbers at 60, 100, and 200 mil plus, and kind of average power, and say that, oh yeah, it's like overwhelmingly on one side or the other. It's just not. Oh. Pesa, what's up, man? Did it have the Sheesh KV? So Sheesh is in Sheesh is in sorry, he's in 314. They're in the COC. They went Calling of Courage. So we might pull the data for that. Yeah. Iceman, what's up? And thanks for the nice stream, BN. Man, always. And like I said, dude, like I stand by. It's so funny. I stand by my title. Because I just think it's so funny how you have God, what is it? How you have like the BTX, Echo stuff being such like a hot topic and it going on for days, but when the NOIR TFS thing went down and they teamed up, man, that stuff lasted like 1 day from what I remember. Like, yeah, sure, people were still talking about it, but dude, not for like 3 going on 4 days of just nonstop conversation. That's just why I thought it was so funny, because like that's where my mind immediately went there. It's like the uproar for this KVK, even though the face value numbers indicate that it is pretty balanced. And we know for an absolute fact that the TFS NOIR one was not. You know, and we know what happened, right? Then they said that, oh yeah, we're going to fight each other in the FZ, and you know, it's not going to be like that. I mean, obviously that was a sack of patootie. We all know, because that's how it played out. But I guess for me, I'm just shocked that the level of uproar about this is just not as much. Now, I get it. I understand from a perspective and the approach of, okay, people just like generally it feels like it's just more about the fact that BTX teamed up with Echo, and like people aren't really looking at the numbers in the matchup itself, right, for like what it is. And I understand that. My whole thing is like, look, man, and again, I'm going to say this, and I don't think this is going to, I don't think this is a hot take, but I mean, it might be for some, is that to be fair, I just don't care. Like, I don't care who teams up with who. Objectively speaking, all I care about is the matchup balanced? Is the KVK getting put into a position to where everyone that is going to participate is going to be able to get their PvP's worth and or feel fulfilled, right? Like, that to me should be like the main thing. But listen, I get it. Some people will have their views about like, they just, you know, they just didn't want to see that happen. I guess it's kind of the same thing as like when, I guess the difference here is if you look at TFS and you look at NOIR, once upon a time, they gave us still what to date is considered the best final zone in any KVK and the longest lasting high volume level PvP that any KVK season has ever seen, right? Back in Bellerin season 2. So, yeah, man, I mean, that it was just such a glorious season, man, when that happened. So it was glorious. 'Twas glorious. Sorry. EA is complaining because they didn't get their proposed matchup with 100 million plus and 150 million plus players last season, the LNTS weeks before the KVK was even as. I mean, listen, if even if that's true, I will say, and I've stated this publicly as well, I'm not really a fan of any time people, you know, opt to do like backroom deals and, I'm more of a fan of like, dude, let's have everything out in the open, especially when you're conducting your KVK diplomacy and you're not going around DMing people behind. Like, I feel like that is to me, anyone who does that respectfully and you don't handle things. Now, I'm talking about exhausting everything, trying to handle everything publicly within your KVK Diplo server or your KVK Diplo group chat. And I'm talking handling everything there, exhausting all of what you need to exhaust to try to, like, putting your best foot forward is what I'm saying. If you don't do that and you opt to start sliding into each other's DMs and you start doing these backroom deals, yeah, man, like, you can kick rocks. I think that's the biggest beesh move ever. It doesn't do your KVK justice. It also can hurt you in the long run, because if you do that and kingdoms find out that you do that, that could minimize opportunities for you to partner with people, because that can also be taken as a sign of betraying the trust of everyone and betraying the earnest and good nature of everyone coming to the table. That could be seen as a type of betrayal. So yeah, man, like, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. So, and I'll just say, like, it sucks when it happens, man. Like, I feel like that's just the easy way out. So yeah, that's my take on that. BH says, why you always talk so much of the top KVK when every season it's always the biggest letdown? Have you learned nothing from all this data? So BH, technically that's not correct. So even if we just talk about last season, right? The two largest KVK groups last season, even if we just talk about last season with BDO Echo doing the 2v4, to be honest, I don't think anyone is going to sit there and say that season was a wash. No one's going to say, like, oh yeah, 6009 was so bad, it was so awful. No one enjoyed any of the PvP that occurred there. Not at all. I'll tell you this. Everyone that participated in that KVK, from a PvP participation standpoint, felt incredibly fulfilled. Everyone walked away from that KVK getting their PvP's worth. They arguably may have even set a record for the amount of merits accumulated in a single season. Or we could say in an SOS season, right? If you want to be a little bit more specific and generalize it. So it'll be curious to see what the other kingdoms do, because now we have kind of like total merit data to show you how much they did. And the fact is that I haven't heard, now again, you can show me this if it's out there. Maybe I haven't seen it. But I haven't seen anyone from BDO and Echo come forward and say, like, dude, I don't care how much PvP we had, like, that season absolutely freaking sucked. I haven't heard anyone from BDO or Echo. I'm talking like a decent amount of people that have come out, even the leadership. I haven't seen leadership for any of those teams come out and say, oh yeah, that season completely sucked. We regret doing the 2v4. We don't care about how much PvP we had. We wanted to have the dragon. I haven't seen anyone say that. Right. Or I should say, like, multiple people, like a handful more, # more than a handful, like a decent size, right? You can get some one-offs here and there. That is somewhat to be expected. But to be honest, I'm going to be on again, man, like I said, if you look at it from how much fighting occurred in that season, I mean, yeah, now if you want to make the argument that maybe you would have got more PvP if they did a 3v3, okay, you could sell me on that, right? Like, I'll chomp at that bit, because I do think that's the only argument that could be made. So, but yeah, to sit there and say that the top KVKs, now maybe seasons before that, I would agree. I'm not going to universally disagree there. I will agree that yes, there has been a letdown. The most obvious one was the one we were talking about before, the TFS NOIR KVK. That was a letdown KVK, and I covered that. Some of you remember I did like some massive disappointment videos covering some of the top KVK groups, again, to BH's point. So yes, there have been, I would argue maybe there have been more disappointing, maybe it's about 50-50. Maybe it could be about 50-50, or maybe leaning in more of the disappointment realm. But I do think that hopefully we're going to start getting more non-disappointing KVKs from the top KVK group. So like I said, I do agree for the most part, but I just don't think that I just don't think that it's every KVK. And I do think there are some that we have seen great showings from that really lived up to the hype. I mean, hell, even the second strongest group right here with WB, TFS, SSG, and going up against EIS, NTS, HG, that was a great one. They were fighting for like, what, a week and a half, at minimum from what I saw. That was amazing. So, yeah. Like I said, man, there's again, hopefully we're on the turnaround, so we'll have better horizons, if you will. Absolutely. Iceman, the real injustice in the COD community is that Panties Brooks, hashtag Ken, isn't the head moderator of the official Discord. Hey, man, that'd be it. I will say, man, it would be fun if he was. I definitely miss Ken. I definitely miss him being mod. Source mention. Source, trust me, bro. That's good. That's good. That's funny. That's funny. Oh crap! I need to go to 95. Oopsies. Oops, where am I going? Kamikaze says the real injustice to COD community is when an R5 plays. So I mean, listen, man. At this point, I will say this. I feel like at this point, I think enough people have talked about, let's just say, flying and flying services, having celebrity flyers. to the point of where at least I don't even, again, it's I have to be kind of careful how I word this. I'll just say I think people know, like, okay, this is out in the open. This is a thing that exists. Right? I think if anything, the way I view it is that, anytime you have people that fly planes in your kingdom, all that means is you have that many less main players, real players, right, playing those flying those planes, right? So it just means that's like double, triple, quadruple. It's just that much more load you have to put on those individual flyers, right, rather than having kind of a main person, right, play your. So I mean, if you think about it, like that also could be like a high stress environment. Listen, man. Listen, you can say whatever you want, bro. I actually prefer going number one sitting down. It's a lot more comfortable. I will stand a pro at times, but you can say whatever you want, man. Dude, I love it. What if I just got done with a hard workout and it was leg day? I ain't standing. I'm gonna sit. There you go, yo. listen, man. That's funny and that's accurate. I don't know if I was necessarily going in the direction of like, yeah, we need to like write down a pros and cons list of standing versus sitting, but okay, I'll take that. Oh Lord. That was funny. That was funny. You guys, man. Oh, shiitake mushrooms. Yeah, sorry, but what I was saying about the whole anyone flying accounts or flying planes, excuse me, anyone flying planes, I just don't care. And I don't care, mainly because I feel like, as I stated, I feel like all that does is just limit you. It limits your kingdom because you don't have a main person playing, which means you have to fly double duty. You got to pull OT, right? And it's just, I don't know. Part of me feels like sometimes it won't be as reliable, and I feel like it takes away. I feel like, first off, like, I get why people do it. You don't have to sell me on flying a brand new airplane, a brand new decked out airplane. I get it. Even I will say this, even I enjoyed flying a decked out airplane in that global versus China exhibition matchup. Absolutely. I was pressing all the buttons in that cockpit. I was doing barrel rolls in that beach all day. But it's not my plane. Right? I was just filling in. So that's how I view. That's my view. I just don't. I just don't think it's something. It's like, look, man. It's obviously, yeah. If you asked me, boss, is there a way where is there a way where we could not have that in the game? Absolutely, all for it. You want to come up with some foolproof way to not have that happen? Okay, totally on board with that. Totally down for that. Right? You take in ballots and votes, I'll sign it. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's just, yeah. It's I don't know. Part of me just feels like more important things at this time to worry about. But hey, listen, man, that's just me. I think it's probably different for people that are in a KVK and there's just a bunch of flyers everywhere, and it feels like maybe they're just flying their planes 24/7, no breaks, all gas, no breaks, right? Like I can understand that because I've seen that and I've heard of that, about that happening in some KVKs. So I'm sure your view on it is probably more immediate and in the know than mine would be, kind of looking at it as an outsider going in. And I completely understand that. It's 44. Yeah. Oh, Dr. Slippy, what's up? Dark is like sun runs openly. I mean, listen, man, I think multiple people do. You know, it's kind of a running joke, to be honest, on the Discord. It's like, how often do people talk about flying? Nothing happens. You know, people will quote the TOS. Nothing happens. You know, it's just, I don't know. It's just, again, and that is at the same time, not me sitting here at all to say I condone it. It's just, it is what it is at this point. Does it suck? Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Would it be great if it wasn't there? Absolutely. But until that day, you know, again, man, it is what it is. Sorry, Slippy, you said, would COD die if flying was regulated? No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, would you probably see some kingdoms slim out a little bit, and probably some need to go through another wave of migration? Sure. Right. And I think there's probably could be a couple other after effects from that. But do I think the game's going to die because of that? No, not at all. I mean, yeah, I don't think so. If anything, I'd be more shocked if it did than if it didn't. No. Demon, what's up? BTX is the most pathetic alliance, worse than NOIR. I mean, listen, man. My whole thing is, you know, if you're going to say something about someone, at least give a reason, at least give your take. And keep in mind, we don't have to say it in a aggressive tone. You can make the same point by stating your reasons why and just saying, yeah, man, like I'm just not a fan of them. You know what I mean? Word choice is important. Chase is taking that word choice to grammar school really important. Yeah. We're going 15. Yeah, blesses everyone. Knew it was one-sided matchup, and you went and told everyone it's fair, and there was no Dragon Zone fight. Was that last season or the one before? Being on Echoes and TFS's blacklist is an honor because they are on fight. Oh God, it's so good. You guys are killing me, man. Oh, it's time to quit. Kirito, what's up, man? Welcome. Chase, what's up? Welcome. Yeah, Mees, what's up, man? I feel bad for Dark. He gets bullied outside EA streamer. Man, I don't know. I mean, listen, man, my whole thing is this. You can, you can have a you can agree to disagree, you can disagree on stuff, but that that don't mean we need to, resort to any name calling. You can like I always often say, right, you can get the same point across just by having better word choice. Right, man, articulating a point. Right? Or at least, how you feel about it. And that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Ruzman, drama here. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows at this point? We're going 70 next. Yeah. Yeah, man. My whole thing is I just thought all that stuff that was happening on the Discord was just so funny, man. It was just so absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Ton. What's up, man? BTX reminds me of the movie Kung Pao, where that biggest gang did all that talking only to team up with the other big gang. That was a good movie, though. Yeah. But again, we keep in mind, right? We looked at some of the face value numbers, and it's regardless if you don't like the fact that Echo or BTX teamed up, I mean, the KVK is pretty balanced. But like I said, as we stated already, right, we'll take a look at the advanced numbers in a day or two and see if it lines up. Because maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I love that stuff. No, listen, man, I'm all for people calling people Sallies rather than unfortunately what some other word choices have been in here. Like I said, man, people, you can get your same point across without belittling anyone, without hard name calling anyone. You are more than welcome to state how you feel, state your view, your opinion. If you're disappointed or not, I'm totally okay with that. My whole thing is just, just take a moment to think about what you're going to type, how you're going to type it. Right. I think the unfortunate part is sometimes it's just easy. Yeah, sometimes it can be easy to just go unfiltered. Part of me feels like that's a little bit of the easier way out. Where am I going? 136. Oh, hang on, I gotta go back here, right? Where am I at? There we go. No worries. No. Midge. Oh my gosh, disgusting. Oh, man, you brought back memories. I will say this, dude. I'll be honest. I did watch it. However, I watched it because my cousin was playing it. He had seen it. I think he had seen it already. And I only watched for a couple seconds. I don't even want to say, because whatever I'm going to say is probably we're going to be like, yeah, pun intended. I'll just say, yeah, if you know, you know. Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah. But that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Well, Shishoka, I don't know if I would argue and say that it's a Diplo win with EIS SSG BTX. I mean, again, right? The numbers don't indicate that one side or the other has what I would argue is a clear advantage. At least, again, based on what we know right now, is what I should say. Dang it! I gotta stop here. Rough life. So 136. Cool. Yeah. 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 Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Davos is trying to say, oh, my bad. I see what you're saying. Shishoka, you're talking about the other matchup. Yeah, I don't even know how that one looks. I'd have to see that. It was man, what's up, man? If Bean was in karate movies, he would star as Studley. That's good. I don't know who that is, but I will laugh all the same. BN, you want to see? Sorry, can't scroll to the top. Oh yeah. Here in a bit. But that's funny. Davos, you're crying about the data on the stream of a data channel. Touche. That's funny. That's good. I see what you did there. Where am I at? 257. God, maybe I'll finish this one day. I need to go turn down my AC, man. Let me do that real quick. Whew. All right, man. Hopefully that doesn't mess up the cam at all. But Betsy, did I just turn my AC down and open a window? Maybe I didn't actually need to turn down the AC, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm already feeling a little nice, sexy breeze, man. Sorry, Blunt said, oh, you said scroll up because you want to see the, yeah, hang on. I see, yeah. So, sorry, what did you say? You said RAC. Well, keep in mind, I had to update RAC's numbers. RAC's numbers are, if you're just trying to look at that group, I'll show you that group here. I just got to scroll down on this. Because I had to update their numbers because their second alliance, they're saying, is probably not going to be participating. Or the players in the second alliance, they're people that are going to migrate out and just may not contribute. Yeah. So if you're trying to look at it, this is what it is. Yeah. Let me, here, while you look at that for a sec, I'll switch off in a moment. I just got to wait for this tutorial thing to go past. Oh, Zibelli. Dark says we had some players who said they respected BTX. Also, same players said they lost some respect for BTX. I mean, look, man. Yeah. Listen, as I stated before, I don't care. Doesn't necessarily matter to me who teams up with who. Like I said, the most important thing, to me at least, that surpasses everything is the matchup balanced? Is the matchup going to be set up to help everyone in that KVK, meaning all the players, right, get as much PvP as they can out of the season, and that's it, right? Everything else after that, to me, is secondary. And that's not to diminish anyone's views or feelings on like, oh yeah, sure, I get it. Some people would have wanted to see BTX and Echo go up against each other. Totally valid. Don't see anything wrong with that. All I'm saying is I just don't feel like that is the absolute most important thing that we need to like die on a hill for. You know what I mean? That's just me. Yeah, but like I said, like I said, once we get a chance to look at the advanced numbers, it'll tell us a lot more. Right? And maybe everything I'm saying is for moot. Right? Maybe once we actually see it, it's going to be like, oh damn, yeah, matchup super imbalanced. Right? Or maybe it's going to reinforce that maybe the matchup is a lot more balanced than we think. So we'll see. Oh shit, was that 149? Yeah. Yeah. Merc says others are just set only upon seeing Echo versus BTX. They don't care. Yeah. And Merc, I think that's a good point. Now, I don't know if everyone that's advocating for BTX to go up against Echo or Echo to go up against BTX is, adding on anything extra to say like, if it's just, oh yeah, it's unfair. Why are the two? Because I will say to your point, I have seen a number of posts that are just simply that. It's just, oh yeah, this is unfair. Oh, it's imbalanced. Why are the two top kingdoms teaming up, even though technically it's like 1 and 3, well, at least from what I saw based on my 1B plus, we'd have to look at like a standard top 300, excluding 15 mils, which, like I said, I'll get that pull from Fuzzy probably in a day or two. But it's just, I have seen a number of posts that have people have made it sound like that, where it's, oh yeah, it's just simply shouldn't have been teamed together, top kingdoms, that's it. And there's no depth, right, to what they're saying. So yeah, no, I agree there. Again, not to say everyone's doing it, but I have seen some. Yeah, I guess it just kind of sucks. $46. Oh. Oh, sorry. What's this? I had to catch up there. Davis says last season EAS allied NTS weeks before the KVK was announced. It's clear you don't care about balancing. I mean, listen, man, and I've said this before. Like, I'm not a fan of people who like do like the early KVK Diplo stuff behind closed doors or whatnot. My whole thing is, again, that's where you kind of get into that iffy realm of like, all right, well, if that happens, does that override a matchup, even if it ends up being incredibly well balanced? I still think there's an asterisk there in those cases. Like I said, there's been multiple alliances that have done that. Like I said, I'm not a fan of it by any means, and you're never going to see me advocate for it. I'll just say that, because, like I said, I don't know who did what. Shisoka said, I myself looked at the map for 2 hours to see any way to fight Echo. I want to fight Echo and still want to beat Echo, but it's not this KVK. I will not fight them in a 3v1 scenario. Yeah, so Shisoka, like, I already gave the answer for what that KVK group needs to do to basically solve whatever problems it feels like it may have. Basically, all you got to do is just free for all it up until basically, like, you know, you fight against your, what is it? You fight against who's ever next to you in for statue in zone 2, and just, you know, however long you can. And then when zone 3 comes, you can fight in zone 3 if you want. Just basically draw a line and say, we'll take 50%, you take 50%, and then you can just fight it out, you know, fight it out nonstop at like the middle point, or you designate an area to fight. And then at that point, you just wait till final zone opens, and then everyone gets their 3v3, right? And then you let it last a couple days. And then after however long the period everyone designates, then you're like, all right, man, now the map is totally open. Now you guys can go and attack each other in zone 3s and zone 2s. Bam. Casey, could someone ask Princess so Dark and Demon can yap in their echo chamber and let the rest of us adults chat? Yeah. But basically that's how like that's how I'd solve it, right? And it could be a variation of that, but I think effectively you could sell that for that KVK, and really for all the KVKs. We were talking about that earlier. Is like, dude, just make the first half of it be FFA or free for all, and it's like a quasi free for all, right? Or like a modified free for all, but like basically just have it be free for all up until final zone. And then you just put some restrictions in place, like very few, and really one, which would just be the zone 3 one. and then yeah, once the FZ opens, you fight it out based on what the KVK diplomacy teams were set in the beginning. Excuse me. You fight it out for, like I said, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and then whatever time limit everyone agrees to. Once that time limit is reached, then you say, okay, now you guys start attacking each other in zone 2, zone 3. If people get zone locked, they get zone locked. To me, it's just like I feel like it's a great solution, and it gives everyone kind of the best of both worlds, right? It gives everyone this opportunity where you'll be able to fight in every zone, you fight at every statue, and then you also get to have your massive crescendo final boss PvP that happens in the FZ. And every kingdom, every player feels like, man, I was able to play this KVK all the way pretty much out to the end. Like that's got to be a pretty fulfilling experience. So, okay, good. I'm not muted. Let check. 454 106. Are we going next? Yeah, man. Mark says SSG, then RSC right behind them, and RSS healing. Yeah, I'd have to look. That could be. Tubba says BTX is a dark horse. Everyone considering them a top kingdom based on pure numbers, but they will quickly realize that SSG will give them the fight of their lives. I mean, listen, man. I say this, you know, SSG was fun to watch last season, to Diablo's point, and I think this is the thing, man, is that, and this is the one thing I'll say about BTX, is that BTX hasn't been a part of the main KVK group for 2 seasons now. Right? That means that to them, part of that is like, this is the thing, man, when you're constantly in the main KVK group, the strongest KVK kingdom pool, and you are at that point, especially if you are amongst some of the top kingdoms, you are getting competitive. You are having the potential to get competitive season after competitive season after competitive season. When you go a couple seasons, sometimes that can, what's the expression? Dull your blade, right? Maybe, inflate your views, maybe make you a little bit more confident, than what maybe you can, maybe, the words stronger than the action, so to speak. So I guess what I'm saying is, it is a little bit of a kind of an, it's going to be, I think, an interesting test case for BTX because of the fact that they've been away from the main group for a few seasons to see, is it something where, are they going to be able to rise to the occasion? Is it going to be a little bit of a shock, right? When they kind of come out and they see what, who they're going to be fighting against and, the effort that the other teams are going to make. I mean, like I said, for me, I just think it's going to be really interesting, but I do think generally it is a good point. It's just like there's unknowns, I guess, is what I'm saying, right? Is when I remember when BTX was a part of the pool back then, they were still kind of working their way up and climbing, but they were an up and coming kingdom. Like they were making a name for themselves. But then shortly after they were kind of climbing their way up to the top of the mountain, amongst others, right, they left the main group. So I do agree that I think there is a level of unknown. So 307. Bring. No. Shisoka said, BTX are here to prove themselves and we will win in zone 2 if SSG puts up a fight. Dude, I mean, listen, man, I'd pay to see that, man. Like I'd be pretty epic. Mr. Get Done. Oh, dude, thank you for the sub earlier. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the love. Also, looks like COD Discord is in here. Yeah. Yeah. $308. Let's see, 104. Yeah, man. I mean, I think at this point it's just, show what you got on the field, when it comes up. I mean, especially, like I said, I think the one thing I'm hoping for is that when I do look and see when I do get the advanced stats in my hand and we take a look at it, I will say this, I really hope that all they do is just confirm the matchup being balanced, like being pretty balanced. Because I think at that point, that's when it's like, dude, now there's like some proper hype around this. Just like we got for a number of the KVK groups last season for Rise of the Dragon when those played out. So if anything, that's what I'm hoping to look forward to when I do take a look at it. Oh, good ton. Respect to Blunt's becoming American as Canada becomes the 51st state. What? Jeez. Oh my god. That's funny. Is it you? Oh jeez. Oh yeah, 371. Jan, what's up, man? Coconut, Bean, thanks for the stream, man. Have had fun. Yeah, man, of course, man. No, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you stop by. Yeah, I thought this would be a fun one. Nope, no pun intended. Absolutely. So, but also, man, like I very much enjoy hanging out with the fam and the community, man. It's always a good time. Just because, you know, now thankfully I'm able to stream a little bit more, so it's nice. Yeah. Jan says I love drama. You guys, man. Coconut says, I'll pretend I didn't see this chat for the health of the game. What are you guys talking about? Oh my god. I'm done. 360. All right, man. Let's see if we can jam this out. Try and get a little more focus on this. You know what I might do? So if you maybe you guys might like this. So if Fuzzy is able to get me the stats, because Thursday, yeah, basically 2 days from now, right, is when reset hits. So if Fuzzy is able to get me the stuff before Thursday, and I finish plugging everything in, maybe what we do is we do a start of KVK like prediction stream where I'll show all the numbers, and then I can run some live votes. And tell me if you guys like this. We'll run some live votes on each of the matchups. I'll let the votes run for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes each, so maybe something like that, give or take. And then what we'll do is I'll add the numbers to the matchups for the matchup as a whole, and then maybe we can look at like some of the zone 2 matchups and stuff. Right, but maybe we'll do it for like the matchup as a whole. So like, who do you think is going to win? That could be pretty cool to do. I was just thinking about that, but we can do it for like zones 2 as well, maybe leading up to the zone fights. That could be cool. I was just thinking about that. 315. Right. Diablo, thank you for your optimism. You guys, man. Yeah. $295. Oof. It's just like I said, Diablo predicting without ever watching BTX, but I will be glad to prove you wrong, Diablo. I saw SSG fight BTX as a dark horse, just my opinion. I mean, yeah, I think like I said, I think the challenge there is that it's just been a minute since BTX has fought any of what we would say are like consistently the top fighting kingdoms. Just because they've been in a different pool. Not to say that's anyone's fault, but I think, yeah, man, I think this season will be fun. Especially even more so, man, now just because a lot of these like narratives that are being formed. It's wild, man, how some of this stuff gets started. We're going 4 next. Been since season 1. Mm. $376. Hmm. Ooh, Shishoka played into war early on. Look at that. Back when Noir was Noir. And not Luno. 54. Hmm. Hmm. Oh yeah, I remember when Diablo was at NTS. I just remember that. Plus, let's play against Diablo versus TFS and versus NTS, ROEES. Yeah, that was a good season. Serrano says, "What do you think about R5 deciding to dodge when they don't get Diplo win?" Did Dark say that they were going to dodge, as in not fight at all? I don't know if I saw him say that, or I should say, have seen. Excuse me. Oh, it's finally cooling down in here. Nice. Yeah, maybe once I get the pull from Fuzzy, I can look at the other matchup too as well. The one you guys were talking about. What was it? Was it EIS SSG BTX or something like that? I'd have to scroll up to see. But I probably should make a note on it so I can look at it when once I get the scan. Rue's mom was, yo, hold up. Is that from Winnie the Pooh? Is that like Rue? Is it like Rue, the mother kangaroo? Or no? It's totally unrelated. Maybe I'm just sounding it out that way. Yeah, it's probably a me thing. But thank you. Thanks for posting. It's 2:30. Shit, it's 2:30. I'm like, okay, got you. Okay. Solid. Yeah, I'm gonna copy paste that so I can plug it. Add a note. We'll say check this matchup as well. Okay. I got it saved. Oh, okay. Got you. Andrew. Touche. Gotcha. Oh, sorry. 436. Shroff says, yep, exact words were Echo expecting fights they aren't getting. Oh, sorry, you mean last season? What was, am I tripping on that? Or, so you mean last season or 2 seasons ago? Maybe it had to be 2 seasons ago, right? Because didn't they fought TFS last season. So I'd have to go back and look even farther then. Maybe it was farther back than that. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say it had to at least be 2 seasons ago. I think I have the sheet for that. Okay. Yeah. I'd have to see what it looked like. I mean, look, man, I'll say this. If if the matchup is incredibly imbalanced, you know, I mean, and I've said this publicly before too as well, man. Like I'm not you know, I'm not against, you know, especially if the overall matchup is not balanced, is what I mean. Right. And people are just like, you know, giving you the foot, being like, nah, man, I'm not gonna go out there and fight when this matchup is imbalanced. I have no problem with that. But like I said, I'd have to go and see. I'm just speaking generally. So I'd have to go back and look at that matchup and pull that. I think I do have it on the sheet, so we probably could. Oh god. Yeah, because I'd have to look at like what the specifics were around that. I mean, there's like 1 or 2 KVK groups here so far that are like pretty imbalanced, but thankfully the majority of them are not that bad, and or more balanced than not. Okay. Ruse, you said, what does your MP column mean? Oh, sorry, migration points. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, it's realm migration points technically, but yeah, I just say migration points. We're going 292. Doing pretty good. To be fair, I probably should have been done a while ago. Oh, you said, sorry, you said Dark has been threatening to dodge in COD Discord chat? Really? Oh. Sorry, you mean threaten to dodge based on the current matchup? The one that we just showed. Oh. Interesting. I mean, obviously, whether he says he'll dodge and if that actually happens or not, I mean, that's potentially 2 different things. But yeah, generally speaking, if I'll just say if an R5 is, then yeah, you probably wouldn't want to say that you are going to dodge in a public place, especially if you just end up fighting it anyways. Especially as an R5. I'll just say generally again. But I don't know, like someone would have to send me like a link. Like I said, I don't know. I haven't read anything of him saying that. But then again, I'm not reading every single chat as well. going through COD Discord. So oh, never mind. Merc's on it. Yeah. I almost wonder how serious to take that. But I again, that's where now we're kind of getting into like, okay, reading the subjectiveness of it all and personal individual interpretation, which, yeah, if you really can only take that at face value, especially for the people reading that just don't know, right? If you don't know Dark personally, which again, even I could say I don't know, one way or the other, but I guess that's kind of the way you have to take it. It's like, okay, hey, right, the lead said that. Yeah, which to be fair, I don't know. Yeah. You know what, man? Maybe after I get the stats, that wouldn't be, and I can look at it and kind of break it down and present it kind of how I'd like to. Maybe once I do that, then it'll be a lot easier to do what I would like to do next, which is, like do some interviews and stuff. Because man, like I really want to sit down with some people and like do some team interviews, maybe with like all 3 reps from a team, and then interview the other team, or maybe interview, a kingdom rep here or there. Yeah, I'd love to sit down and kind of ask like some pre-KVK questions, match up. Just, yeah, I think it would be super interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Diablo said, we'll see if it's balanced. Last season it was perfect balance, but the map wasn't balanced. But the challenge there is that they could have got around that, Diablo as well. It's just that I don't think they thought of it in that moment, right? Which is like, hey, let's free for all it, in a sense, up until the final zone, and then let's do our 3v3, right? Like, let's do whatever we need to do up until final zone to get as much PvP as we can, and then we'll just do our KVK diplomacy, right, which is the balanced one for the final zone. And that's something that more kingdoms could have done. Sadly, the majority didn't do that, even though last season I think, and that's the interesting part. Like, I don't know if I want to say it was a fluke because of how many of the KVK groups ended up being so good, in that all of the kingdoms, if not up to all the kingdoms, made it to the final zone. Right, so maybe it just ended up working out that way coincidentally. Though, I'd like to believe that there was some opportunity there. Yeah. Midge says, couldn't there also be a Diplo 1 argument of BTX or Echo ally with RIC? Yeah, possibly. I'd have to see the numbers for that. This is my thing, man. I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny when people say like it's a Diplo win and like the numbers don't clearly indicate that overwhelmingly. Like, we've shown, and many of you, or I should say any of you, right, that have watched my content or my streams, whenever we're showing off numbers, like when I have, the full stuff to show off, like, we've shown off some KVK groups that you're like, all right, man, this is feeling like a Diplo win. And sometimes there's a little bit more to it than that. And then sometimes it really is that. But as I stated, right, until I see it for this group, I would rather reserve my final thoughts for that. And like I said, that's just because I just don't think at face value that it shows that. one way or another. 36. Yeah. Bruce says, what are your thoughts on RAC saying they're solo but assisting EIS SSG when necessary? Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Oh my God. Do you guys remember when Echo went solo that one season? It had to be like 3 seasons ago, right? It's like 3 or 4 seasons ago. If you guys remember that season where Echo was like, yo, we're going solo. But then once the final zone came around, they ended up working with the other 2 kingdoms to fight. So, you know, it was like they said they were going solo, but and again, I kind of called them out for that because it's like, look, man, that just doesn't make any sense. And I stated that publicly. So if you're asking me how do I feel about RAC saying, now I don't know if they said they're going solo, because again, I only have the stuff from, I only saw the matchup for what it was. So I don't know if for what it is now. So I haven't seen RAC say that. I'd have to ask one of the management peeps because the R5 or the R4 rep I spoke to from RAC did not say to me, I think it was like 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, that they were going solo. So if they are, that would just be news to me. So if I'm answering that based on this one possible path of that they're going solo, but like I said, that would be my answer. Is it immediately reminds me of the Echo season where it's like, you could say you're going solo, but you know, the only way to me you're truly going solo is if you say you're going solo, that means you are attacking anyone and everyone at any and every point throughout the entire season. If you don't do that, then to me, you're not truly going solo. Instead, don't say you're going solo. Just say, look, we'll work with you, but we just want to fight everyone up until the final zone. Like that's all you have to say. But yeah, so again, and that goes for anyone. If you say we're solo, we're not teaming up with anyone, then I expect you to live up to that. And that means you have to fight everyone at any available opportunity and point throughout the entire KVK, throughout all the zones, all the statues, Supreme, etc. If you don't do that, then I would say that's hypocritical. I would say your bark was bigger than your bite at that point, and you just shouldn't have said that in the beginning. Timmy, what's up? Yeah. Yeah, Diablo probably has a good point. I mean, if RC did go solo, there's a good chance that the KVK would probably be dead on arrival. Which I just don't know why anyone in that KVK would. It's like, look, man, just figure out whatever the most balanced matchup is and do that. If you want to fight at every statue in every zone 2 and zone 3, then just communicate that to everyone. Be like, look, man, we just want to fight, but then we'll do the Diplo matchup in final zone. And then just talk it out. If you got to set some restrictions, you want to put some parameters in place, fine. I mean, that's what the diplomacy chat's for. It's to talk. It's to discuss. It's to figure things out. It's the whole point. So yeah. Guru says, Diablo, that's what they're telling their members. It's RAC versus SSGs versus Echo BTX. Didn't I see something? Didn't I see something that someone said something about like RAC and RFF are just kind of there, but it's really more of like Echo BTX versus SSG EIS. Wasn't that going around, or am I crazy? Someone will have to let me know on that one. I thought I read that somewhere or saw some people post about that. And I don't know. Again, I didn't really get that one because I didn't know what any of the justifications were for that, but I thought I saw some people posting about that. Diablo says you forgot RFF, which has the most amount of people, and while they are not the strongest in the KVK, it will take a lot of RSS to overcome them in Zone 3. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I think, and people have stated that it's like BTX has had, 2 seasons, but I don't know if I would say they have been. And again, I'm only saying this from a fly on the wall because I haven't really hardcore examined their seasons, but I will at least say that multiple people have stated that they basically have had 2 seasons to also do a decent bit of RSS gathering and probably have a lot of reserves. So, which maybe could be more than the others. The only way I could really look at that, which you could look at that, you would have to just look at like what were the totals for the RSS from the beginning of a season to the end of the other season. I think I have that data as well. Maybe I could show that off. So we can do like all-time, I can do like all-time RSS, and then I can show how much RSS was gathered from the beginning of last season to the start of this season. Like from the beginning of last season to the beginning of this season. That might be an interesting thing to show. If you guys are curious on that one. I was just thinking about it. Yeah, because I could probably show that off. That actually wouldn't be hard to do. Sarov says, even after you bring in-depth analysis, I doubt Dark would do the interview. Nah, man, Dark's like, I'm cool with Dark. I mean, I like to believe I'm cool with everyone. I'm not really into the whole like, name calling and stuff like that. But I as of again, as people know, I have no problem giving my opinion on a situation. After I've had a chance to kind of hear from both sides and give my thoughts, or if I see something that's just super blatant, I don't mind talking about it. But I'm never gonna personally attack anyone or personally hate on someone. That's just not my style. But like I said, yeah, man, I don't think Dark would mind doing an interview, at least from what I know at the moment. So I actually think that would be a pretty fun interview. So yeah. What if I someone asked me one time, I think this was back when I had interviewed Sod. This was like shortly after the TFS split situation, and someone had asked me, they're like, boss, what you need to do is get Sod and Dark in a room and interview them both together. I was like, damn, bro, really? I was like, that's your idea. Like, that's your $1 million idea. He's like, yep. To be honest, when I think about it, it was probably Adi. He's like, yeah, boss, you should do it. Yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah. Mitch says 16 is a lot weaker than the rest of their kingdom. Is supposedly half dead. Yeah. I've heard that from someone else. Yeah. Timmy's like, we lit. Diablo says, I'm not aware of any decrees, but we cannot control the kingdom's choices. Yeah, we will focus on what we can control in that zone 2 and 3. Yep. Yeah, man. Looking at what's in your control and what's not. That is a good way of looking at things. Absolutely. Genesis, what's up? Welcome. Bruce says Diablo, just ask an R4 member, RIC member for it. I'm sure they'll share it. It's been going around already. Oh, okay. I can ask. Who do I have from RIC? Let me see. Hang on. BN, you taking the Thunder or Nuggets tonight? Honestly, man, my Warriors, man, it's been rough, dude, with Steph being out. And it sucks because there are 2 home games they could have won. It's wild, man. Like, even with Steph out, right, they lost by single digits. And they were leading, I believe, at least one or twice during both the games. God, I'd have to go back and look, but exactly how many times. Oh, my gosh, man. It's just, it sucked because it's not like the games were totally out of, and Kuminga had a really big game too. I think he dropped 30 or something in game 3. It was either game 3 or game 4. I mean, it's just, it sucks, man. Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough seeing Steph out. And I think they said it was like it was like that first type of injury that he had. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. My hope is that even if he doesn't play, they pull it out somehow, some way, and then he maybe buys himself a little more time. He comes back for game 6. But yeah, dude, it just sucks because I feel like I do, man. I feel like if he was there, they would have at least been in a good position to win the series, right? Regardless of whatever the outcome was, because man, they were just doing so well. Yeah, I was thinking about Buddy, man. It's like just that inconsistency. And yeah, man, I wish. And it's like, man, you hope you want to see Kuminga develop, and you want to see him like put up those kinds of numbers like he did in that game 3 or game 4 where he had 30. But yeah, we'll see. It's just, it sucks, man, because I felt like, and I think any Warriors fan, and like I said, I think probably any franchise fan too, but at least for me being a Warriors fan, because that's where I grew up, in the Bay Area around San Francisco, is just, and I used to go to games at Oracle Arena before they moved to the new arena. So yeah, it's just, man, like I really felt, I was like, dude, like this could be a year where like they at least have a chance. So, but as far as Thunder Nuggets, honestly, I don't really mind either way. If anything, I'd like to see Thunder maybe just because they're a younger team. I'd like to see them maybe just get a crack at it, because Denver's already won. But that'd be my only stance. That's my only stance there. Nothing too in depth. Nothing too in depth, I'll say. Yeah. Or am I at 253? Yeah, I got one more here. Oh my God, I'm almost done, man. Jeez. Look at that. So close, so close. That's a good little grub here afterwards. Yeah. Yeah, so is there anyone that you guys would absolutely like to see me interview? Whether it's an R5, if it's maybe someone who's doing Diplo for a Kingdom, or if it's, would you like to see me interview like an entire team? Right, so maybe like 3 leads from like one team of 3, or an individual. I'd be curious to hear what you guys think. Ooh, where am I going? 49? Yeah. I mean, we could even mess around doing like some live interviews too, but maybe you would want to do those maybe after. Oh, dude, look at this, bro. Here we go. Never mind. Why did I go to 49? Why am I so excited about this? Oh, I went to the wrong kingdom. Oh, that's funny. It's 443. I went to 49. I was like, oh my God, look at what we just found. That's a no. that didn't work out good. Oh, jeez. That's funny. Ooh, Ruse, I like that. I like that. That's a good storyline. R5. Merc says interview with Sod and Dark together over a short. Dude, yeah, man. That's actually not bad. That actually could be pretty good, man. Eating some food and doing an interview. Where have I seen that done before? Maybe. I to be fair, I'd have to ask them both. That'd be a pretty intense one. Yeah. Yeah. But I definitely want to, man. Like I want to kind of do it like, when you're watching, it's kind of like when you're doing the, I guess if I was just to compare basketball for a sec, right? It's like interviewing players and coaches before the game, doing the press conferences, the post game stuff. Like those are the kinds of things I would love to do a little bit more of, just because I feel like that's just like a completely open avenue to do stuff like that. So that way, you get to build some storylines, you get to build some hype, you get to familiarize yourself a little bit more with the players, the alliances, the kingdoms, the leadership teams. Like that part I like, because I feel like it's more of like, oh man, we're kind of getting to know these people a little bit more. Like I've always really wanted to dive a little bit more into that area. It's like, like why not, man? Like, create some fans of some kingdoms. Sorrow says interview Dark with stats. Well, keep in mind, if I did interview any of them, I would have all the stats already ready to go, right? Like it would be after Fuzzy sends me the scan, and then I'd update, I'd plug everything in, and I'd have that stuff already ready before I interview anyone. So regardless of the questions I would want to ask, I'd also be able to refer back and be like, well, yeah, these are the numbers right now, and I can kind of talk to them or about them with whomever and or however many people I would be interviewing, then yeah. So always good to be prepared in those cases, just in case. $3.99. Yeah. Roos says, talk to R5s in a kingdom before season, after matchmaking, before each zone opens. Okay. Go to a different R5 in Alliance of the KVK. All right. It's not a bad idea. To be honest, I still think like there's opportunity to talk to the R5s about the matchups right now, right? Because the season hasn't started yet. And even obviously just before zone 3. Or sorry, before zone 2 opens as well. So I feel like there's still a little bit of a window for that. Even if it's not too longer of one. Zyra, what's up? Welcome. Masab, what's up? Arborist, man, my bad. I didn't even say hi. I just saw you there too. He said BTX have also been fighting more T4 players. I have heard that, and I mean, I think that might more or less be the case, just based on the age of the kingdoms they've been fighting too, for the pool they were in. But again, I don't know how many. I haven't been following them too specifically, so I don't know kind of what all the numbers look like there for them, or what they have been looking like. I probably should say. Yeah, I just know that a few people have said that. Stevens, what's up? Welcome. Hello, how is the Brink going in each KVK? Yes, I will be covering Brink of War as well. So, not tomorrow. What's tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah, but Thursday. So Thursday, I'm going to go through before reset, and I'm going to pull all the Brink of War data so I can show you guys like who got what bonuses, like, because I did that before in one of the KVKs. So like now I feel like this week is okay for me because kiddos are with their mom, so I got some time. So I'm hoping I'll be able to grab all of that as well to kind of show everyone like, hey, here's what the final numbers are. 317, where am I going here? Yeah. 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 Oh yeah, BTX was originally, as Nasser said, from G2. They just skipped. Yeah, BTX speed. Yeah, they merged. I think they've only done one merge though, from what I understand. It was only that one. At least what we'd probably consider like a main merge. Yeah, man, dude, I'm so sore, man. I did like two a days. Or sorry, yeah, no, I did 2 like CrossFit sessions yesterday. I went at 7:30 in the morning, and then I went at 5:30, I think, in the afternoon. And these are like, about 35-minute sessions. It's just nonstop. But dude, and then I went this morning. 7:30 is usually when I go. Man, dude, that 2 a day was rough. It was fun, but it was rough. And I was thinking, man, okay, I could do this. I could do some 2 a days now. But I thought, okay, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it today, but tomorrow I might I think I might do every other day, maybe a 2 a day. So we'll see. Yeah, man, it's been so fun though, man. Going just going to this CrossFit gym and just finally kind of getting back in shape, losing weight, eating healthier. Oh man, it's just been so much fun. I think more so because I just have the time. Because I just have the time / also, making the time. But yeah, man, it's pretty awesome when you're able to kind of take control in that sense and just make that decision to go. 21, huh? I'll tell you this though, man. I'm gonna finish this. 362. People are still talking about it on COD Gen chat. Just like never ending, man. So funny. Crazy, man. So it's like day 4, man. Yeah. Dude, if they keep talking about the BTX Echo stuff tomorrow, that'll be day 5. I mean, just how about them apples? Gotta think about what I want to watch after this one. Yeah. I part of me feels like I wish there was some better anime out this season. I don't know if anyone's watched anything or even any TV shows as well, like live action stuff. I'm watching a little bit of both. Yeah, there's actually like 2 anime shows this season I've actually been really enjoying. That I've been looking forward to. Is that 447? Where am I going? Yeah, I don't even know. Where is it? What do I got? What is it? Yeah, dude, Windbreaker. Oh, and then there's this one show I've been watching. and obviously Fire Force because those are out. But there's this new show. It's called The Too Perfect Saint, tossed aside by my fiance and sold to another kingdom. Really good show. Really good show. And then there's this other show that came out that people were kind of comparing it to Solo Leveling as like the thing that'll, scratch that itch for you now that Solo Leveling's gone. It's called The Beginning After the End. And it's okay. I don't put it on Solo Leveling status, but it hasn't been bad, I should say. And then there's this other show that I'm watching, but it's I don't know, I feel like I'm 50-50 on it. It's called The Unaware Atelier Meister or something like that. And I felt like the first episode was really good to me, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's falling off a bit for me. Yeah, and then I got a bunch of shows that I'm still just waiting to watch. Yeah. And let's see. Live action stuff. What am I watching? Ooh, I've been watching this show called The Ranch with Ashton Kutcher and his buddy from that 70s show. I'm forgetting his name now. It's got a really good older actor too. I'm forgetting his name. So I guess all kind of placeholders. Been watching Last of Us season 2. It's been pretty good. But man, you guys already know, man, I'm waiting for Silo season 3. Waiting for Paradise season 2. Oh god, dude, there's some good stuff, man. Really, really some good stuff. Yeah. Uh-oh, here's Jag. What's he got for us? We're going 14. Jack says my bold prediction is TFS is going to be the highest power alliance again within 6 months. I mean, the thing about TFS, man, is they've kind of been taking this in and out approach. For anyone here who enjoys In-N-Out Burger, which is it's the jam, dude. It's the bee's knees. But that the In-N-Out the In-N-Out franchising model or expanding model is they're like a turtle, man, slow and steady. Wins the race to them. That's why it's been taking so long for them to eventually work their way out to the East Coast. But yeah, I kind of feel like TFS has been taking that approach to what you're saying, Jag. Is that, and it almost tells me that Jason learned a lot, because I know he told me this as well when we did an interview. Compare, when he had that massive season where they brought in ANCS and just felt he stated, he's like, man, I felt like I needed to fill the void of when Sod left and half the alliance left, or half the kingdom left, I guess you could say. And ever since then, once they finally moved off of 23, it's just yeah, man, it's it's they've just been kind of taking batches here and there, right? It's just groups, they're not trying to max fill it out every season. They're kind of being pretty selective, is what it has felt like. So I don't think that's a bold prediction. I think they've been on an upward trajectory ever since their rebuild. And sure, it's taken a couple seasons, but I think if they end up, oh wow, I think we're done. Shocker. Yeah, I think if they stay on their current path. The hell did I just do? I think if they stay on their current path, I think that's well within reach. Based on what I've seen. Oh my gosh, look at that, dude. We finished. We got all our migration points updated. Super happy about that. The only thing we could do is take a look at the COC groups. Yeah. If I did that, I'd probably have to add them above these. Yeah. I'm so confused right now. I thought I had these grouped. Am I tripping? Oh, I didn't. Oh, maybe I should do that real quick. Yeah, we need to group these real quick. Jeez, I thought I did. Well, yeah, maybe we'll do that tomorrow, where we take a look at the COC groups and maybe get those down. Because I mean, there could be one or two that might be good to look at. Oops, we're doing group, right? Yeah, but this helps, man. We got a big thing done today. Yeah, now next thing I'll have to do is I need to update all the KVK groups just to see where they're at, which is going to be on my Biscuit Rixer sheet. And then I also have to add in these groups for that as well. Yeah, maybe we'll do that tomorrow, or I'll do that off stream. Oh, so I did these ones. Okay, cool. Awesome. Hey, that didn't take that long. Jack says, yeah, he's a super solid leader for war, regardless if you like a style or not. I played with him in TFS and FS before the R4 account got hacked. Yeah. Yeah, that was back. That was back when the FS stuff was going on too. I think if I remember. Oh boy. Well, all right, fam. I think that is where we're gonna hang it up. It's almost 10 o'clock for me. I still gotta go get a little grub. But man, listen, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This was a fun one. And I'm sure more ways than one for some. But I appreciate you hanging out with us. Tomorrow, again, if we do end up streaming, which we might, we'll probably end up doing something a little bit different. Like I said, I got to update the KVKs. I have to update all the KVK groups to see where they're at. And then maybe we'll start pulling the Calling of Courage matchups. So that could be something that we end up doing as well. And yeah, there may be anything else that might come to mind. So I appreciate you guys hanging out, tuning in with us tonight. Keep in mind as well is that if you do want to get access to the sheet, which is the public version of the sheet, right? Remember, we have that on the Discord. You can join the Discord. There's a link to that at the top or pinned comment on the live chat feed. And then when you join, you can just head over there to the reaction role, select CallofDragons, and then you would just go to COD Data Stats is where you'll end up finding yourself. And as always, we have reaction roles on there as well if you want to get notified when we have new content and live streams that are going, because we're doing that a lot more often. But as always, thank you guys so much. Tuning in, it means a lot, more than you know. And I hope you have a good rest of the morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.